Good evening and welcome to Movement Mondays. I'm Alex Weaver. For today's class, all you will need is a yoga mat or towel, something comfortable to lay on, a sturdy chair or stool, something that you can sit on, and I believe that is it for today. Oh, and then water. So I'm going to give everyone a few seconds to join, and I will make sure that the stream looks good, and then we'll get started with the warm-up. All right, so we're going to get started here in just a few. If you're just joining the stream, I'm Alex Weaver, and we are going to start class here shortly. All you'll need today is a yoga mat or a towel, something comfortable to lay on to do exercises, and a water and a sturdy chair or something that you're able to do squats to that you can put your body weight on. All right. Cool. And so as always, if you have questions, drop them in the comments on the stream on the Thunderwell page. If you comment from anywhere else that you're watching from, I won't see them. So just make sure it's on the actual Movement Monday stream on the Thunderwell page if you have a question. So we're going to go ahead and get started. Before we do, I made the mistake of starting chili in the Instant Pot prior to starting this class. So it is possible that at some point I will have to duck out for about 30 seconds to make sure that it doesn't explode. But otherwise, everything should go as normal today. So let's get started. So we're going to start today with 5 walkouts. So start standing nice and tall. You're going to walk your hands out into a plank position and then all the way back. Stand up nice and tall. You can reach for the ceiling and repeat. We're going to do 5 of these. And I believe that was 5. So this time, we're going to walk back out into a plank. And we're going to bring one leg forward, just like this, and then open up toward that leg. And then switch, which leg is forward, open up opposite side. So we'll do 3 times per side. Great. All right, so you can come back into child's pose for a second. Sit back. You can allow your chest to sink towards the ground. Take a few deep breaths. If you're wearing a hat like me, you might have to push the hat off your head so you can get your face closer to the ground. You can even rest your forehead on the ground if you'd like. And take a few deep breaths. Good, and then come on up, and we're going to do some cat-cows. So, hands under your shoulders, core like kind of neutral to start. You're going to breathe into your spine, coming up, and then exhale down, letting your chest drop towards the floor. Notice that my head is moving with my body, and so it's one fluid movement. So we're gonna do this at a 5. Great. Okay, so we're going to focus a little bit extra on the neck and thoracic spine during warm-up today. A lot of my clients this week have talked about sleeping poorly or having neck and shoulder pain. So this is going to be geared towards that, just kind of getting you a little looser if you are also experiencing that kind of like stress, tension in your shoulders. So we're going to start with, we're going to lay on our side. Let me make sure you can see. Okay, so you're going to lay on your side. You can bend your knees and stack them on top of one another, and then extend the arm of the side you were laying on out in front of you. You're going to take one hand, put it behind your head, bring your elbow towards the other wrist, and then open away as far as you can without letting your hips move. So notice I'm not going like this. I'm keeping my hips on the ground. So I'm going to come back, and I'm going to do that. Let's do 4 more times. And I like to look at my elbow while I'm doing these, so I just kind of follow that path, allowing that stretch in my mid-back. And I just lost count, so I'm going to do one more for good measure. And then we're going to switch. So you're going to do the same thing, opposite side. So flip which side you're laying on. Arm is extended out, knees are stacked on top of each other, hips stay on the ground. You are bringing the elbow forward, and then opening up away, and then coming back. You may find one side is tighter than the other. That's totally normal. And you just want to be gentle, breathe, and go as far as is comfortable for your body. Great. So we're going to come to a seated position. You can sit in whatever way feels comfortable for you. We're going to sit nice and tall. Take one hand, place it behind your back, one arm, and then gently pull your head away from the arm that is behind your back. We're going to take 5 deep breaths, pulling slightly more with each breath. And shift so you're pulling downward just a little bit. And switch which arm is behind your back. Same thing, other direction. And then pull the head downward slightly. Great. All right. So you can roll those shoulders just a little bit. Roll backwards and then forwards. Might be easier to go one direction than the other. Great. Okay. So now we're going to stand up. We're going to do a set of squat stretches, or squat mobility, rather. So you're going to sit, widen your stance, a little bit wider than your typical squat stance, and you're going to sit back into your squat stance and grab your toes. So it's okay if you can't go as low as I can. You're just going to want to keep your elbows on the inside of your knees, try to keep your chest up and open, and you can use those elbows to push your knees out just a little bit. You can shift your weight back and forth, and then come on up into a hamstring stretch. Again, your hands don't have to be on the floor. Just try to keep your knees locked and reach down as far as you can. We're going to hang out here for just a second, and then we're coming back into that squat stretch. So you push your knees out. Again, if you're not as flexible as I am, it's totally cool. And then come on back up into that hamstring stretch. And then slowly come all the way up. You can reach for the ceiling. You can pull across one way, get a little stretch in your ribs. Pull the other way, just like that. And then last but not least, we're going to do a quad stretch. So grabbing onto something if you need to. You're going to pull one leg back just like this and hold. I'll turn to the sides just so you can see. And we're going to take 5 deep breaths. And switch legs. All right, great job. So shake it out. Anything else you feel like you need to stretch, go ahead. I'm going to talk us through our first circuit. So our first circuit today is going to be YTAs, shoulder taps or a regular plank, squats, and jumping jacks. So let's start with the YTAs. We've done these before. So you're going to lay on your stomach. You can even rest your head on the ground, just like this. Arms extended out in a Y. You're coming up like this. So each time I'm doing Y, squeezing my shoulders, T, squeezing my shoulders, and A. So notice in between I'm moving my hands along the ground. If it's uncomfortable for you to lay on the floor like that, and you have access to a yoga ball, you can also do these kneeling, leaning over a yoga ball like this. So Y, T, and A. Same way, and you could use like the arm of your couch or something similar if for whatever reason the floor feels uncomfortable. So that's going to be our first movement. Our second movement is going to be a shoulder tap or regular plank. So as you know, with planks, I encourage everyone to do whatever feels best for their body. So if it feels better to be on your forearms and your wrists, that's totally cool. You just want to make sure that regardless of what kind of plank you're doing, you're keeping your core engaged and you're not letting your low back take over. So what that means is whether you're kneeling, whether you're full extension, whatever, you don't want to let your hips drop towards the ground. You don't want to let that low back arch. You want to keep that core engaged so that your core is what's doing the work. So again, some options. You can do a full plank, you can do forearm plank, you can do kneeling, you can do an elevated plank if you want to use something like this. You can do like arms up on something. So that's basically the more advanced version that you can do if you're looking for a little bit more of a challenge today is going to be shoulder taps. So you can do these from a kneeling or from a full extension position. From a kneeling position, I'll show at a side angle. So if I'm here, I'm slowly tapping the opposite shoulder, just like that. You can obviously do the same thing in a full plank. You're going to want to widen your feet just a little bit so that you have a better basis, and so you're not kind of like rocking back and forth. So we want to keep your core engaged and try not to shift as you're going back and forth. Next up, we have squats. So we talk about squats a lot. So main things, keeping the core engaged, allowing hips to come back, knees to come forward, driving out, and trying to keep our chest up. So sitting back into our squat, coming back up on the side. So you're sitting back into your squat, knees come forward, and back up. So you're keeping that core engaged throughout. This is where if you feel like you struggle with balance, it might be helpful to put something behind you. So you can squat to a chair, just like that. If you lose your balance, you just sit down. If you feel like you have tight calves, you can take a couple of books, put them under your heels like this, and that's going to help you stay a little bit more upright as you squat. So if you feel like you're leaning really far forward, number one, try putting something behind you so that you feel comfortable bringing your hips back. And number two, try elevating your heels so that your ankles don't have to flex as far in order for you to descend into your squat. Next up, we're doing jumping jacks, which are fairly self-explanatory, but I will demonstrate. So just like this. If for whatever reason you don't like jumping jacks, you can also do, I've seen like there's a whole variety of stationary jumping jacks where you're going like this instead of jumping, or you can even like jog in place. You can do high knees, just like this walking. So if the jumping doesn't work for you, modify it however feels best. Just keep moving for 45 seconds. Okay, so that is our first circuit. We are using the timer again, so if you missed last week's class, my mom actually bought me this timer for my birthday that has an alarm that goes off. So it'll do a 10-second countdown, it'll do a 3, 2, 1, and then we'll go. We'll have a 45-second round, and then it will beep again at the end. So some of you may not be accustomed to hearing beeping during this class. That is what it is, it's the timer. So without further ado, I'm going to give everyone a 10-second warning, and we are going to start with those YTAs. So go ahead and get ready, and 10 seconds. And go. So remember, it's Y, T, and A. Squeezing those shoulders. And don't do what I did, and give yourself enough room so you're not hitting objects around you if possible. And rest. So next up, we have the shoulder tap or regular plank. So you have the option of doing either here. And we're going to do a 10-second countdown, and we are starting. And go. Great job. And remember with those, you can always rest in a plank or switch to a plank, a non-moving plank. Okay, so next up we have squats. So again, 10-second countdown, and we are squatting. And go. Great job. All right, so last but not least, we have those jumping jacks. So 10-second countdown, and we'll go. And go. All right. So rest for a second, and then we'll be back at it in about a minute. So just as I said, I'm going to go check on that chili. As I warned you all, I would have to. I don't know how sensitive the microphone is, but that sound is the sound of the pressure releasing from the pressure cooker. Okay, so we're going to do 30 more seconds of rest, and then we're going to get back to round one. So for those of you just tuning in, circuit one is YTAs, shoulder tap plank or regular plank, squats, and jumping jacks. All right. So 10-second warning, and we're back with those YTAs. So YTA. Remember, you don't have to move anything but your arms, and you're squeezing your shoulders. Great job. All right, so next up, remember, you can either do the shoulder tap plank, or you can do just a static plank where you're holding in whatever style of plank is comfortable for you. Ready? We have 10-second countdown. And 10-second countdown. Go. I regret wearing pants for this workout. Definitely should have worn shorts. Whew. Great job. All right, so next up, we have jumping jacks. So 10-second countdown, and then we start. And go. All right, grab some water and we're going to talk through circuit 2. Okay, so circuit 2 today is super people, lateral lunges, crunches, and push-ups. So we'll start with the super people. We've done these before. Similar to the YTAs, you are laying on the ground, like so. And you are lifting up, squeezing your posterior chains to your glutes, hamstrings, a little bit low back, coming up, holding for 2 seconds, and back down. So up, holding, back down. So we'll do 45 seconds of those. We'll do 45 seconds of lateral lunges. So lateral lunges, you are going to start in a nice wide stance. You are going to come over as far as comfortable and back to the center, alternating sides. So just to kind of show you from the side, I'm sitting back into my hip as I go down. So I'm not just going into that knee, I'm also sitting back. So we'll do those, and then we'll do crunches. So crunches, you can do any variation you want. You can do with your knees bent or up. So you're squeezing your core, coming up, back down. So each rep, you're engaging your core to come up. You can keep your hands on your head if you want, but don't pull your head forward. It's gonna hurt your neck if you do that. You can also keep your hands here, it's up to you. And last but not least, we have push-ups. So these are fairly self-explanatory, we do them every class. So for those, you are either, if you're doing them on a wall, so I'm going to show from easiest to hardest. So if you're just learning push-ups, start on the wall. You want to make sure your hands end under your shoulders and your arms are coming out to 45 degrees and you're keeping your core engaged. So you can let yourself come towards the wall, press back up. So just like that. Next hardest would be, if you have something you can put your hands on, you can do a push-up incline. Then you would go to kneeling on the ground, like so. Hands still ending under the shoulders. And then finally, most difficult, your standard push-up. You're down, up, like so. For all of the above, keeping hands under our shoulders. Elbows are at 45 degrees. You don't want them super high. You don't want them close to your body. You want them right in the middle. And then you're keeping that core engaged. You don't want your low back to arch. So that is our circuit 2. We are going to start with super people here in just a second. So let's start that 10-second countdown. All right, so next up we have those lateral lunges, which I might not do with you today because my knee is bothering me. So 10-second countdown, I'll demo a few, and then I will trust that you are doing what you need at home. So 10 seconds. So remember, nice wide stance, coming over and back. And go. So you're coming over and back, over and back. And I'm going to rest while you do this. So each time you're coming back to this tall position here. "15 seconds, keep it up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Great work. So next up, we have a set of crunches, which remember you can do these crunches however you like. You can do with your knees up or your knees bent. If your low back is bothered by crunches, you can try extending one leg and doing like a few reps that way and then switching which leg is extended. It decreases how much your lumbar spine has to flex as you come up. So without further ado, here's the countdown, 10 seconds, and whatever variation of crunches you like. Great work. All right, and last but not least for this round, we have push-ups. So remember, modify these push-ups to fit your body's needs. And we have a 10-second countdown. Don't be afraid to switch to kneeling if you start to fatigue. some water, and then we're gonna do that again. I'm gonna say also, so if those lateral lunges aren't working for anyone else, I'm gonna do glute bridges while you do lateral lunges. Which glute bridges, you're just laying on your back, feet hip width apart, core is engaged, coming up, holding for 2 seconds, squeezing your glutes and hamstrings, and back down. So if for whatever reason the lateral lunges aren't working for you today, feel free to sub those glute bridges in. That's what I'm going to do. But if you're looking for a little bit more of a challenge, you can still do those lateral lunges. So we'll rest for a little bit more, and then we'll repeat circuit 2. And for those of you who were looking for an update to the chili situation, my partner is home now, so don't have to worry about the Instant Pot anymore. So, what a fun time. I'll let you know how my chili turned out next Monday, if I remember. Okay, so we're going to restart circuit 2. And remember, we are starting with super people. So, go ahead and head back to your mat. And we have a 10-second countdown. Great job. So next up, you can do lateral lunges or glute bridges. All right, so 10-second countdown. And go. All right. So next up we have crunches. So give everyone a few seconds to get on the floor if you aren't already. And 10-second countdown. Go. Woo. And last but not least, we have push-ups. Another thing thing you can do if you have dumbbells at home, if push-ups bother your wrists at all, you can use dumbbells as handles. So 10-second countdown and push-ups. Great job. So that is the end of circuit 2. So last but not least, we have 3 45-second rounds and 1 30-second round of some core. So we're going to start with a set of penguins for 45 seconds. So penguins, you are laying on your back, similar to when you were doing glute bridges. You are engaging your core to bring your shoulders off the ground slightly, and then you are reaching for the opposite heel, for the heel on the same side, so just like this. If you can't reach your heel, that's totally fine. You're just reaching as far as you can to engage your obliques. So we're going to do 45 seconds continuously of these, and you can take a break as you need. So 10-second countdown. It's also harder if you tap the inside of your ankle or heel instead of the outside. Woo! All right. So you can stay on your back. Next up, we're doing dead bugs. So you're bringing all your limbs up, just like this, extending opposite arm, opposite leg, keeping that core engaged so your back doesn't arch. If you have a hard time doing arms and legs together, you can keep your arms at your side and just extend your legs. And don't let your back arch. Keep your core engaged. So, 10-second countdown. And 10 seconds. All right. So last but not least, we're going to see if I can change the timer effectively to 30 seconds. going to do a 30-second plank on each side. Side plank, sorry. So you can start on whichever side you want. If you're doing a full plank, you're going to extend your legs all the way out and come up, keeping the entire side of your body engaged. Or you can do from your knees, so bending your knees, stacking them on top of each other, same thing, lifting your hips off the ground by engaging your core. You're also going to have to squeeze your glutes and your part of your shoulder to kind of keep your entire side of your body stable. So 10-second countdown, and then we are doing a 30-second plank on each side, and then you are done for today. So I'm not hitting a button that I should be hitting. There we go. Okay, 10-second countdown. Go. And switch sides. Last movement of the day. 10-second countdown. And go. Woo! All right. So that is all we have for today's class. Thank you all, as always, for joining. And thanks for allowing me to run in the other room and check on my chili in the middle of class. Not that you actually had a choice, but appreciate your patience. So again, my name is Alex Weaver. I am coach and owner of Alien Athletes. This class is every Monday at 6 p.m. Thank you to Thunder Mist for sponsoring this class. And if you haven't already made plans to vote on election day, consider early voting. So just don't forget to vote. I'm sure it's nearly impossible to forget to vote, considering that the messaging is everywhere, but in case you haven't already made a plan for voting, please do so. So again, I'm Alex Weaver. Thank you for coming to class tonight, and I will see you next Monday at 6 p.m.